Kia ora mai tātou. In this session we're going to look at our beautiful hue, our mai Hinepūtehue, all our gourds, our different types of gourd music. So there's several different instruments that come from the hue family of Hinepūtehue. And so when we're looking at the whakapapa of the hue, we have rangiraua ko papa, akaputa ko tāne, akaputa ko hineraua mua. And hineraua mua is the mother of Hinepūtehue. So tāne hineraua mua akaputa ko Hinepūtehue. So one pūrākau that I know about Hinepūtehue in relation to the creation story is that at that time of the separation of Rangi and Papa, some of the children didn't want that separation to happen, and one in particular was Tāwhiri Mātea. So there was a time and during that creation that Tāwhiri Mātea was blowing great storms upon Papa Tuanuku and all around our Earth Mother, and it was a time of great winds and storms. And during this time of fighting between the different tamariki, the different atua, those who didn't want the separation and those who did want the separation, outgrew this beautiful hue. And one line or one pūrākau is that Ranginui was looking down and upon Papa Tuanuku, his beloved, and he saw all the children fighting, and this made him very sad. And so he started to tangi these beautiful tears which were falling down as raindrops onto Papa Tuanuku. And within one of the single teardrops was this kākana, the seed of Hinepūtehue, of the gourd. And as it came down through those whakapapa lines, through the water, outgrew this beautiful gourd plant, or the hue as we call it in Aotearoa. And when she grew and came of age and matured during that period of fighting and turmoil, when she finally matured, she started to sing. And so all of the sounds that you hear from the hue are very peaceful sounds. And these songs of peace that came from Hinepūtehue, one of the littlest sisters of the atua, of the brothers and sisters, out came this beautiful song of peace. And in that beautiful song, that started to pacify some of her brothers and sisters so that they could go about their mahi and create and finish off their different creations of the different parts of nature. So that's a little pūrākau that I share with the kids. And again, what can we learn from these different ways? And of course, is that those are the ways of peacefulness, of Hinepūtehue, of the Aio, and your tauterangi Māori, and all those beautiful expressions we hear. So I've got 6 actually different Taonga Puoro, and they're made from hue, or the gourds. So this is a bigger one, and or actually they grow a lot much bigger than these. This is a size or a type of hue that our tupuna used as a taha, and that's a water bottle. So yeah, the water bottle. And when we're looking at it as a Taonga Puoro though, it becomes a Hue Puruhau. Hue Puruhau. Hue. So as Hinepūtehue sang, those songs of peace came out and pacified and chilled all her brothers and sisters out. The Hue Puruhau also makes the sound of the Kākāpō. So the Kākāpō are, you don't really see them around on the mainland anymore. They're on special motu, and the ones I've seen have been down South Island, down in Te Waipounamu. And when they're when the Kākāpō are little, and those are the ones I saw, little babies, the Kākāpō makes this booming sound, so it will breathe in and puff its body up, and then when it sings, or when it exhales, it makes this sound. And they practice all their life. They're most amazing musicians. They practice and practice from when they're little babies, when they're little small Kākāpō. They practice and they practice and they practice. And they do that so that when they come of age and when they're mature, the males will find themselves a spot in the ngāhere in the forest. And with their claws, they'll dig a big bowl in the ground. And then they use their feet and they stomp it all down so it's nice and smooth. And that acts as an amplifier. And when they put their big green chest over the hole in the ground and puff up like a football or a rugby ball, and breathe out, they make this booming sound. The booming in the night forest is often what you'll hear about the Kākāpō. And remembering too, the Kākāpō is the heaviest, one of the biggest parrots in the world, and so the boom is really loud, and it sounds like this. So they get ready and they make their bowl, their amplifier, and their mates will be in the different parts of the ngāhere because they're getting ready to mate. It's mating season, and they puff up and they sing their unique song, and they move and dance a little too. So it's quite a beautiful way that they go into their mating season. So you might get one in this part of the forest that's like slow jams, like those slow, beautiful songs, and might sound like this. And that Kākāpō will move. Now his friend, his mate, he'll find his own spot a little bit away from each other, a bit of distancing, and he'll do the same thing, dig a hole with his big claws. They have amazing claws and they're able to climb trees. They're not really great flyers, they don't fly very much, but they are able to climb the trees really well with their big claws. And they use those big claws to dig a hole in the ground there. So this one here likes slow jams, another one just a little bit over, and the ngāhere might like fast, fast sort of rhythms. And then you might have another mate over this other part of the forest here. Won't be slow, won't be fast, but all their own unique songs might be in between. So and they sing and dance to try and attract the different females. What happens with the female Kākāpō is they've got very high standards, and they'll journey around in the ngāhere, almost like going to a music festival or different venues, and they'll listen to each separate musician, each separate male Kākāpō. And they might like, one of them might like this slow one of them might like the fast one. Sometimes many of them will like one, and then they'll sort of have a little bit of a scrap, as they do in kind of in nature, and then they kind of work it out how they partner off. And as I mentioned, they've got very high standards, so some of the time, and of course this is due to the deforestation and many things like that, changing of their natural habitat, quite often they won't partner up and won't pair, and so it's still quite a rare occasion for them to mate, and a lot of that's to do with the different seasons and berries and leaves that they're eating that help them to be healthy and get them prepared. When I saw the Kākāpō they have the most amazing kākara or smell. Their perfume is like the most amazing natural smell I've ever smelt in my life. You get different manu that are quite smelly, like kiwi. Kiwi is a very pungent sort of smell. Kākāpō though has a very he kākara rekaro atu. It's a very sweet, beautiful smell, and it's almost like a perfume, but a very natural one. So that's the Hue Puruhau. Some of the uses, because remembering our Taonga Puoro are musical instruments, but you know, not just for music as in an entertainment kind of way of utilizing the sound. They're very much part of a tradition of healing, and we're in a state of reviving that at the moment, and it's a very exciting time. And how that works is by either hearing kōrero or getting a sense for a kōrero from tupuna, or somehow that kōrero comes through, and then when you hear that, re-practicing and just putting those into practice. So there was some kōrero around our old people where they were talking about using the hue during the birth of baby, and particularly in the contractions phase. So you'll often see, if you've ever been at a birth, the midwife or the medical team's encouraging the mother at that time to breathe, you know, breathe, breathe, breathe. But I've used this and practiced this several times now with different babies coming through, and the whānau and friends, family and friends. Instead of, you know, using the words to say breathe, we're using the sound. And so during that breathing, we're listening to the mama, to the mum, to her breathing and the contractions, and then we're mimicking that, and it creates quite a peaceful feeling and sound for baby and mum. So and really just tuning into the mum and to the breathing and making the sound and synchronizing with the mum during her. And you can slow the breathing down and help encourage to slow the breathing and bring deep breathing through the sound. And that's really just one example of how we can revitalize the healing practices of the Taonga Puoro. So there is a lot of similarities in our music to more modern music, and it can work together really well. I guess what I'm trying to share here is that there's, for me and my understanding and experience, there's kind of three different parts to the functions of the Taonga Puoro. Traditionally and in the times of our tupuna, and also in modern times. So the first part really is, and we've talked about it before in some of the other videos, is the ceremony part at tangihana, at pōhiri, you know, those different times of significant times and events. We can use those in our ceremony to vitalize them in a ceremonial practice. The second part for me and a lot of my work now is utilizing them to help heal our people. And I started doing this by using them to help heal myself. So during my early 20s, I went through a hard time with depression, and that knocked onto a lot of other things, and part of my healing process was in the making of these taonga, learning how to make, doing, you know, working with the rākau and the different materials of nature, and then learning how to play, or finding out how to play. I didn't have any mentor in regards to Taonga Puoro. There wasn't that many people at that time, and there definitely wasn't anybody in Mairohe. And so that was all through experience, and through the experiences of making the Taonga Puoro and then playing them, and then taking them into the nature and playing them. That was where a lot of my healing was. The second part of that was taking them, what I had learned in that short time, and then taking my small collection out into the kura and back to the tamariki, back into the schools, all of the schools, kura kaupapa and mainstream and ECE and kohanga and colleges and the whole, kaumātua, kuia kaumātua groups, community, just sharing the little that I had, but just sharing in a really big way. And so that was where the other part of my healing came from, working alongside the people. And I saw a lot of activation of genetic memory and memory when those puoro have been played to our people. And so going back to the healing part, I use this one a lot with tāmoko artists and people giving tāmoko, and particularly around the facial moko kauai, mataora, because obviously that's quite a painful area on the body to receive moko. And so I would sit, if the moko artist is on this side, I'd sit on the other side and play directly into the ear. And particularly with this one, the Ponga Ihu. So there's two Ponga Ihu here, and those are smaller type of hue or gourds, and they're played with the Ihu as the name suggests. Other one here, different sound again, and it's really important to know that each and every Taonga Puoro is unique. There's no mass production of Taonga Puoro. Everyone is unique in its shape, size, sound, the whole thing. So you won't find another pūtorino like this one, or like this one. You won't find another Ponga Ihu like these ones, or another Hue Puruhau, because just like us, they're very unique in their shapes and their sizes, and within the whānau of people who are making Taonga Puoro. Ponga Ihu. This other smaller hue is a Poi Awhiowhio. So we have different types of poi, and I'm going to show you two types of poi. This one's the Poi Harakeke. I got given this one from a kuia at Purihaka many years ago, and it's been with me for a long time. So we don't just have the poi that you see being used in kapahaka. There's different types of poi. This one here is a Poi Harakeke, and the whakapapa of this comes down through Hinepūtehue and tāne, and I love this beautiful sound because it's very reminiscent of our harakeke and those weaving sounds, And so we got those different percussive sounds as well, and that's through the Poi Harakeke. And I thought I'd include the Poi Harakeke there, the Purihaka one, just because we're talking about poi. And so yeah, this one is a smaller gourd, and it's got, you can see up here, it's got some Puoro feathers again, and I'm going to swing it around, and it makes the sound, or mimics the sound of the different manu in the forest, the bird sounds, particularly when they're with the Kererū, or the cuckoo, or the kukupā. So the cuckoo, or Kererū, the wood pigeon, after the wood pigeon has a big kai, mostly berries, it'll sit and bask in the sun, very quietly. It'll sit up there content, and you'll hear this cooing sound. Now, you have to really listen for that, and I know you'll know what I'm talking about if you've grown up in Aotearoa. Sometimes you can miss it amongst all the other sounds, but this one's a Poi Awhiowhio, and it's made of hue, and it sounds like this. And that sound is often you'll hear the saying ku ku te Kererū. There's a beautiful whakatauki of it goes koe koe te tui ke te Kākāpō te Kererū. And the ku te Kererū is the sound. I was lucky to grow up around the ngahere a lot in the Rohini Ranges, so we'd be out there in the ngahere a lot and listening to a lot of the manu. So going back to, often I'll get asked, who taught you? And those were big teachings for me growing up in the ngahere and down at the awa, and listening to all those beautiful manu. There's a lot of beautiful bird songs in there that are deep within me from that time that I was on the whenua, on my, on our ancestral lands, our whenua te mokopuna, and at the bush. So yeah, before I go into the ngahere, I take my Poi Awhiowhio and I'll karakia, or I'll give thanks and talk to the ngahere to let the ngahere know I'm coming in. And you can play the Poi Awhiowhio like our tupuna did to help give that ruruku more power and more weight. Okay, so that's the Poi Awhiowhio. And if you swing it faster or slower, or you let the chord out longer, you'll get those different beautiful sounds. And sometimes you can get a continuous, and that's pretty magic when that happens. The last two parts of the hue I want to show you is the end of the hue. So you can see that that's what the end of the hue looks like, eh? There's a little neck on there, and then it'll attach itself to the bush. And you can take it off. And of course, we're about being efficient and not wasting any different parts of the nature, acknowledging that all life is sacred and that there's no wastage. If we have less waste, it's better. And so out of the tops of these two different hue, okay, we get Karanga Manu, or bird callers. Okay. And that is the sound of the Weka. And the Wekas are very cheeky, very strong, determined manu. Okay, it's a beautiful bird with beautiful feathers, and it's really tough. They're really tough. They don't get taken out by the stoats and ferrets in Aotearoa because they'll give them a hiding, basically. So they're really tough. They've got a big stout beak, they're really fast, and their legs are really strong too. And they're quite, not aggressive, but they don't let anything shy them and scare them away. The other one is a smaller one, and I like playing the sounds of the tui on this one. And while we're on the realms of the Karanga Manu, it's going to bring us into this next part. And I just want to show you this one lastly. This is a rock with a hole approximately the size of my pinky, so I can put my pinky in there, and it covers up to about the top of my fingernail. You can blow across these and make a Karanga Manu, also a bird caller. So here I like to talk about this being like a holy rock. It's got a hole in it, and it makes the sound. This one makes the sound of the huia. And so the huia was a manu that still stayed in our ngahere right up into the early 1900s. And some of our old people remembered that whistle and passed it on. And so this is the call that I know of the huia. So there you go, that's a Karanga Manu.